Let's teach Flappy Flaps to do stuff. It's kind of just because Adine, I think, is the only person with an uneven amount of things she does because it goes on and off. Do you see her much with this? I think she's actually surprised a little. I think this only really comes with at one time. I think it's very telling that Adine is more sad than she ever is frustrated or anything. Her default emotion is to be upset about something, but not to be angry. Did some art today. I should really get back to doing at least some daily whatchamacallits. So negative about my art. This time he didn't have to dig, which is kind of unusual. I don't know why, I want to do something else today for recording, but then I realized I just didn't feel it. Like, that WAD suddenly making a 180 just really got to me. Let me try and explain this. The reason I'm so upset is, very rarely does a WAD start off with like some really good, some pepper and spice, you know, the good stuff that makes me go like, I'm interested. And then it just suddenly turns into something else. Like, I'll give him credits for, like, artistic consistency, and, like, clearly there's some directioning going on. Like, aesthetically, it doesn't go all over the place, it focuses and goes a direction. But the gameplay just, it's really weird for something to just suddenly twist like that. Maybe it was subtler than I had imagined, which made me extra frustrated. The reason you're not going to say how it translates to anatomy is because this is because the creator doesn't know how to fucking write it. Oh man, Adine giggle. Oh, the little giggles. Looks little giggles. She giggles a lot. It's kind of surprising that her giggle only comes in blush form. Like, she doesn't just have a giggle, she's always like, eee! The thing is, though, we have a word for it, which means that we probably have a much more culture attached. I don't know. Does having a word associated with something that nobody else seems to use have some sort of meaning to it? Does it mean your culture cares more, or is it just, like, incidental? These are questions you can ask yourself. Because, like the Inuit, they have a lot of ways of describing snow. People say they have no, majority of those are compound. But the fact that they have compound words on standby for describing different kinds of snow clearly means that they have a strong requirement, a cultural association with snow to be interested. We have a bunch of words for soggy swampland. Well, not really, because we only have a few types of soggy swampland. The British have all kinds of words for fancy things that I still don't fully understand. Probably because I never had, like, geography class in English. The funny thing is, I never knew how to... I also had problems with learning how to skip stones. All these little OKs are really adding a lot of fluff to the translation file because it's like very short responses that do very little. Ugh. It's kind of weird that they're finding these stones or what is like. Let me pull this out. So I can understand that even on like a rocky beach, this stuff's hard to find. You have to be at a gravelly beach and a specific kind, because this kind of stone doesn't really just show up. Having a certain type of stone requires a certain type of water current and erosion. But like, this place doesn't look like you could find stones if you tried. Like, it's way too sandy, and you got these very dunish hills. Maybe they're further up the shore. Well, they wouldn't be, because they're clearly at the water's edge. There we go. A slight tweak, but it makes it a bit more readable. It's like it's clear that a skeleton and muscles weren't able to make the motion. The thing about the feet thing, though, is your feet are gross as shit. Like, I don't care how clean the streets are. Adine's feet are gross. Her trying to do anything with her feet is disgusting. And it's also kind of weird, because she clearly is able to manipulate papers, and, like, she makes notes, like, it's kind of implied. Like, there's a picture of her. I know it's no longer used, and that might be why it's no longer used. But, and this just annoys the living crap out of me, she can clearly use a pen! And hold a piece of paper! Or box! Like, the maneuverability is much higher than it is implied to be, which is... It's just kind of weird that her manual dexterity seems to sort of be whatever it wants to be. Also, her wings are... The artistic inconsistencies when they show up are kind of glaring when you really look at them. Like here, the inside of her wings are the same color. They're the same color. But then in this big picture, suddenly they are discolored. Like the same with the Remy's wings, which turns these... They start out like this, and then they get these weird... It's just... Oh. Man, I forgot that Chapter 5 contained all the credit stuff. Oh. Nimby Saunders. Got Darla Wilder. We did so much that she's still getting bothered by people like, I want to get more. Jonathan X. It's so kind of funny that my name gets to be at the top like this. Makes me giggle. Do I know anyone else on this list? Never really got the time to sit down with it and just look at it. Grand and Gareth. That's pretty close. Goldkin is weird, by the way. I don't know what to say about Goldkin. Mark Sparling. Yeah, I think he made most of the music, if not all of it. Wow, look at all these names! Probably because they didn't know what my real name was. So they put my alias and be like, that's his name. It's like, nope. Oh. No, I don't know nobody here. Which is very weird. I'm like the... Oh yeah, there's chromatic scales, like I pointed out at one point. Kiba. I know a Kiba. Which is not a name I've seen since then. It's not like Lance. Everyone knows Lance. Marlon von Coinham. Again, another person has shown up, by the way, to be like, I wonder if these people were, no, they wouldn't have been Kevin showing up. Sponsor. This ending picture is so fucking weird. I'll get to that in a moment. But first, Goldkin. Weird guy. The more I hear him talk about how and what he did with Lauren, the more I'm like, wow, Goldkin. You really fucked it up, didn't you? Like, he starts talking about, I made Lorem based on this thing, and I already have, like, a whole bunch of shit with Lorem, and I'm like, but none of that is used! Like, none of the good parts about the character are used in an interesting or proper fashion. Like, all of it just goes, let's talk about lore, let's do this, let's have this side character show up that doesn't amount to anything. And I'm like, you clearly had an idea what the character was supposed to be for, but you use none of it! It's not about Lorem. Ironically, it's why his third date is actually good, is because they finally run out of just garbage to talk about. And this thing annoys me for a few reasons. One, I don't know, something about the Exomosphere is always kind of weird to me. But if you look at these items, why would Bryce put his badge here? Like, I understand this. This makes sense. This is Remy being like, I'm gonna go at the past. And this is Adine being like, I don't need to. I can do it later. Also, these clasps. I know that as an artist you barely ever notice this stuff, but if you notice the underside of a tie, you're gonna notice that this isn't gonna clip together like an actual thing would. Why the goggles? Like, Anna's still going to be a scientist. Although, that being said, once she's cured cancer, maybe she'd stop. Like, that's kind of interesting, is that now that her cancer is cured, would she care? Would she just do something else? But Bryce stopping with the police is weird. Like, clearly he wants to be a cop. Like, that's a thing that's not incidental to his character or part of some bigger mistake. It's not why he's an alcoholic. It's not why he's weird with how he dates and handles people. It's super weird that that's what shows up. And the Exomosphere is an expensive piece of technology that has nothing to do with Lorem. Like, why does that show up at the ending? Like, I'm done. I like this picture. For one reason. It never comes up anywhere else. Oh my god, I forgot. There's so many Izumi Dead versions because of her hair color. Which again, kind of implies that... Here's the weird part when you think about them. Is, if you really think about it, what happens with Izumi is... Oh wow, yeah, I forgot. I forgot that Maverick can die in any number of ways. Notice some of them are similar. Also, this hallway looks pretty cool. Like, I wish we'd done more with this. But nope, we had to just save it for the ending. And Varys shows up. Reza bitten. He gets his throat torn out. He's burnt up, which is just awful. And here he's blown up. And you get his gun. God damn it, Reza. And then this Sebastian. Translucent. I don't know what translucent is. And that's so sad. Remy's big ending. Still wearing the goddamn tie. And having, again, the weird wings. There's Adine. Why does it look like her wing is clipping into the floor? I want an answer to that. Also, this is, like, I don't know what you're thinking, but... I don't think her thing would work like that. Like, considering you're already keeping track of gravity... Like, here's the thing, though. When you draw something like this, eventually you're going to be like, oh, fuck! And you're going to curse yourself because you made a big mistake. You made a big no-no. I can't see her legs being like this, being a natural state, though. This is, Why is she covered in blood? I know that he died from the thing and something, but... Also, this is very awkward, considering that he was... I don't know. I need to read up on that to make a statement. Here's Anna dying! Why is your horn shiny? If you're facing away from the light, you shouldn't be shining like that. That is a tube that is not going into her. At least I think it isn't. Even though of course they would have no clue. I think it would work on humans just fine if you made the ends a little flexible enough. The thing that gets me, though, is his leg. Because there's no leg on the other side. She lost a leg. And here's Bryce being like, no... Why he's not wearing a cop thing is... Oh, yeah, because he's off-duty when he shows up with you, and he's like, no, let's go. Interesting, this is one of the few pictures where the portal shows up, and the portal looks very thin in this one. A lot of the depth is gone. Was it Full Moon Tan one? Still. Like, god damn it. The degree to which characters die just seems to fluctuate from time to time. It's like, oh, you're gonna die now, no, you know. What? Chapter 5 is just goofy. And here's Adine. Again, the inside of her wings are not visible. It's just a weird detail to show up. What's this for? I wonder. Is that the bath? Or is it just like to put a little cup in? Also, look at how massive her bathroom is. Like, I know she needs space, but holy crap. Floor plans are expensive. Here's Bryce, who seems to have one of the cheapest Chapter 4 moments of all of them. Especially considering the bottles in the way. Kevin. Who apparently looks like a circle. I don't see it. I don't see why he looks like a cheesehead, as someone put it. It's also interesting that one of his things is like a full bracelet, but here it's split up. And there's Remy, whose head is really up high, and there doesn't seem to be any logical way for him to be able to get in there. Like, I understand you want to... Oh, so that's a cool detail. Like, say what you want about the fact that it doesn't look like he could ever make this position himself, but the fact that this is there, and the pictures are in the frame, that's a nice... That's a sweet... good details. Just like without his collars, like smoochy smooch. I wonder why they didn't do the smooch smooch with the red lips. Like, why they did that away. It just seems like some detail you want to hold on to. And this, like, again, you're not going to notice the string in some resolutions because it's kind of a minor detail. It's impressive they did. But, what was I talking about? Yeah, like, some of the art details are very inconsistent, and it's very glaring. Like, holy potatoes. Man, for some reason, I just don't like the later chapters. The earlier chapters, sure, Lorm kind of is a complete and utter just waste of space. But he at least has a decent third date, like, for as weird as it is. It feels like a first date, if anything. It's like for finally getting to meet each other, which I guess is like... It's one of those things where people are like, oh, it's intentional, but no! Like the ending of The Prisoner, it's like that explanation isn't intentional, because it requires a degree of artisan skill that hasn't been demonstrated before. If someone says, but it's artistic, because the ending is like this, no. Think about this. If that was the intention, wouldn't there have been somewhat more of an artistic swerve to the rest of it? Like, what artist, what creator, is going to wait until the final moment to have this big, fancy, artistic meta-narrative, instead of having it earlier on? Like, to me, that's always like you're exploiting some writing. Also, here's extras, which are character or artistic thing. I like Emra's one. If only because it gives a bit more details to how the dragons are shaped. This is a very uncommon angle for them. Also, her back thing doesn't look as dangerous. You get me? I like this one a lot. I just like the painted style. And again, the wings look different. Like, what is the actual wing style with these characters? He also looks a lot shorter because of this. Like, if you were to stand on this dude, like, he wouldn't be much higher than this, implying this desk is probably pretty high or just weird. Like, the perspective makes him look small because floor tiles are rarely ever that big. And with the trees in the background, it does augment his height. Still, I just like it. I like this one a lot. And got Anna. I don't know, something about her eyes is very weird. Probably because she looks so... And the goggles. Not an accoutrement that fits her very much, I'd say. Because she's a building administrator more than she's a researcher, and, you know... Eyewear seems to be like her least of her concerns. They fit Ipsum more, if anything. I like this one. I like the face thing. That's an actual creature. I think you tell him Lorm about that as well. And the bloodstain. I gotta say, this art piece is very good. Like, the shading, dear God! This is some strong-ass shading. Look at that. You got some good depth to it, but also has this certain crisp sharpness to it. Like a box of chocolates. The thing that gets me is that in this crime scene, there's just a big blob of blood. This irks me. I don't know what irks me about it, but again, the feet thing is so weird. I understand that, like, bird feet are nimble and pliable, but there's a degree of dexterity that feet can't have because feet are supposed to do something different than hands. Like, I understand that you can develop compensatory traits. Also here, clasps are missing. Tiny details I'm going to point out because I'm a dick. Also, her eyes look funky because of this angle, but it actually gives her a certain, like, childish glee. It looks like her cheeks are pressing up against her face. You know, you're giggling. But the thing that gets me is just the feet thing. Like, the way her feet anatomy work is how the hell would she have any dexterity? Like, there's no muscles underneath that allow her to properly grasp things. Like, look at your hand, and look at how your hand muscles are so distinctly shaped, you know? I just realized you can't actually see the muscles that are... Or maybe that's because I have fat sausaging fingers. Why does Sebastian have this? Again, probably a dateable character. Oh, he should have been. He should have been. Not Lorm. Look at that cheek. Also, his cap is a bit different. Looks a bit more like Captain America's shield, if anything. It got Chong. Again, I think they drew the background for this one, implying that they probably used the 3D setting and then painted over it. But something about this that gets me is his design looks kind of funky. Like, something about this looks weird. For one, it, again, uses his fingers can't possibly do anything more dexterous than just grabbing an object loosely. But just look at this. At the little spikes. They just... Something about them feels like it looks cool as a detail, but it looks very uncomfortable in any physical situation. Also, look at that fucking gut! Wouldn't you want to hug that gut? That looks like a big soft belly. Oh, this is Emra's actual picture. Is it? I don't know. I don't know what they were trying with her ear, but I get the sensation that if you ask him about it, he was like, yeah, I like the coloration, like, that's cool. That looks like mascara, like that. But the fucking MS Paint spray can effect looks terrible. Like, yes, Jules, simple shading, but just look at how potent that shading is. Look at this, got some nice paint, got this really crisp jewelry. This though, like, okay, I see what they're going for. They're going for the horn, getting in the way. This is really well done. Like, holy man. And then Katsuharu, who just again demonstrates, like, he looks like a man in a suit. Look at this. He looks like a man in a suit. Also, here he actually looks properly tall because of the light post in the background. But and the small fencing around it. But look at him. He looks like a man in a suit. There's so many wrinkles to his body. Like, wrinkles. I understand old people have wrinkles, but this part especially is kind of weird. I don't think quadrupeds have that kind of distended shoulders. But look at that. Little glasses. He's got little glasses, little snout. Ooh. Ice cream. And then we got Kevin. He still doesn't look like a circle to me. But god damn if that ain't a fancy jacket. I wonder why they went with gibberish. Like, if it's this close, you can just write something. Like, just write at least a few letters. Also, this is a giant dragon. Do dragons have kaiju? Or are they upset about that? My god, though, the leather shading is amazing. Ugh, my shading lately has been terrible. Like, my art in general has been terrible because I've just been rusting. That looks like a chocolate. He's eating chocolate. My god, there's like a little chocolate bar detail. What is this? That's a button, probably. Also, how would he manipulate much... like, again, human figures are very complicated. Having having the top two joints turn into a claw would already take away a significant portion of human dexterity. You'd be surprised. This one gets me. Because, again, this shitty-looking JPEG compression spray can effect. But, like, the rest of it is, like, it's got really strong style to it. Very crisp. Here it looks a bit better because it's part of the texture, but when it's this tiny detail on, like, an organic form, it looks weird. It really looks like compression artifacting, if anything. It probably is compression artifacting with how shit it looks in some places. Ugh. Like, it works good on metals because it looks like, you know, metal scratchings and all that. What a good setting, though. The problem is that the houses you do get to see are all, like, on brick buildings. I don't get why she has a bark mask. Considering the location she's at, she could probably get a better mask. And here we got all the cards. They look all pretty good. Like, one thing I have to say about the cards is they have not the greatest artwork, but it actually works to its benefit. Like, it looks... Oh, I like how this is in the background. And there's... That's actually really clever. There's a little heart monitor, and there's... oh, that's a clever detail. That's clever. I don't get this. Like, again, Lorem's story just completely wasted. Completely wasted. Oh. Inception. This irks me for one reason, that's that hardtail is way more flexible than it ever would be. Why is Young Hope? Like, why? The weird thing is, this is like one of the first cards. They were like, what style are we going to use? And then we got Grief. In which Remy, again, just demonstrates... Actually, this looks fine. If not, that he looks very lengthy. Overly long. His head does not have the volume required to give us... Again, this. So I guess this is the standard form, and just a couple of art pieces just don't capture that. But then why would this be different? Also, this head is a lot more flowy. Enlightenment. It's not the best final card. Like, if you're going to give a card that players permanently going to get from that point forward, make it a good card. Make it like the popper. Here's a tip for all y'all writing or doing good shit out there. Make your last part the best. I know I just said that if you're an artist who has, like, a good, sexy ending and it's only at the end, sure, but make it more of a thing. Like, your ending should pop. Your ending should be like, whoa! But at the same time, you can't ignore a video game. What gets me is that Adine has confidence. Like, before, she's a lot weaker, and here she's like, oh, it didn't work. And she's like, okay, let's move on. Like, she's not sad. Why is Anna's more sad than Adine is at this point? That's weird. I got a shit story about last night. So, last night, I wake up from my wake back to bed, because that helps me with my dream recollection. Honestly, lucid dreaming is kind of on the back burner, because I'm just enjoying having dreams, although I am trying to work on being more aware of my surroundings. All-day awareness is slowly but surely becoming part of me. Eventually, I might lucid dream. Woo! But I woke up. Okay, I woke up. What happened then? Okay, so I wake up, and I hear a beep. It turns out one of the fire alarms, specifically out of my sister's room, has run out of battery. Fire alarms, when they run out of battery life, they beep like every 30 seconds. So I spend several minutes, like a total of 50 minutes, when I normally only stay up a couple of minutes, and try to focus my chakras, trying to find the fire alarm, whose beep is like it's behind a bar. So the sound is already reflective and echoing, so it's pretty hard to locate. I went up and down the stairs a few times, finally found it, knocked at the bed, and was like, God damn it. Oh, not good. Had a good Starfinder session today. Woo! Everyone was happy. Yay! Then again, I'm not like an anatomy expert, so if anyone want to be like, well, actually, she could totally do it, go ahead. I'd love to learn. Man, this date's so sweet. Here's a problem with this. I understand, like, Adine's anatomy and the way you're supposed to throw the stone means that your body is thrown into it. And there's a reason why when you're throwing shit, you put one foot before the other, and it's because you're stabilizing yourself on the throw itself. I can't imagine Adine keeping her balance with this and being able to make a good throw. Like, it's one or the other. It's sorry to say this, but there are trade-offs to certain body types. If you ever want to turn into a dragon, listen, you're going to have to sacrifice some shit, no matter what shape you're going to take. You can be a dragonborn and you'd still lose out because of the giant triangles on your fingers. Them goddamn nail Doritos ain't going to help you. It's fucking nail Doritos. Where did that come from? I know where it came from. Video games, where everyone talks about Doritos. Got Illuminati fingers. You know, something about this is weird because, again, I've talked about this before, but the timelines in this are so weird. Like, how old are you? How old is the world? What about a PC who imagines himself as being older? In which case, why is this super old person dating exclusively 20-year-olds? Like, the thing that gets me a lot is that every single person you date is younger than 28, and I think the youngest is 21. That is a narrow band to date in, all things considered. Like, in most, like, schoolgirls, it's like, oh, you're dating in school. But here, there's no reason not to have someone who's actually old. Like, Bryce has actually passed his midlife crisis, and he just doesn't give a fuck. Like, he's like, bleh! And Remy is really fresh-faced. And you got Adine, who's, like, a little bit older. She's on the older side. She's a bit more of a less green, lush lady. Like, I understand Lauren being young because he's, like, fresh to the industry, but someone like Remy or Dean, like, they can be a bit older. It can even have him act older. Like, I understand it's hard to write old people. Here's how you write an old person. Imagine yourself having more experiences with life and generally not caring as much as you've experienced more. Time itself has slowed down, and new and fresh experiences are more important to you than anything because they actually slow down time again. Like, it's not hard to write an old person because all you have to do is actually think about it. And then you're already older because you thought about it! Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. So, the thing about this thing is, again, she holds a pen and a piece of paper, which was used in the demo, I think, in the demo, because her main art comes in the, yeah, maybe the art just wasn't done yet. So weird to think about. Man! Like, I like how I'm not hating the game, I'm just like, man, this is what old people are like, by the way. They're just disappointed. There's no time to be angry, but there is time to be critical, learn, and move on. Man, I feel old now. My birthday is soon, but I already feel old. Ah! Spooky. It's super weird to consider. Man, you know what's really weird is I think back of, like, when I was 16 years old, and I'm like, wow, that was a lot less time ago than I thought it was. Holy banana peas, Batman! It turns out time is dilating. Whoa! Oh. Yeah, I like this. Next time, Adine uses her feet to eat stuff. Ew! Also, the fact that she washes her feet, you'd have to wash your feet a lot. Like, people eat a lot, and if she eats snack food, like, also the fact that she eats chips after pointing out that she has to save on ramen. Listen, Adine, if this is your life condition is that you have to save on food that much, maybe, like, save on longer periods of time so that you'll have money so that in case things do get bad, you can still cover a little bit. Also, again, like, the parentless void in which someone who is not that old... Let me look up the Steam page. I like that this is still on my listing, despite not having played it in forever. I think the characters are down here. No, they're exclusively over there. Oh, heck. They're exclusively over there, huh? I really thought the artwork's here. Give me a moment. I'll look this up. Yeah, I also... If this was on, like, Kickstarter... I can't do Kickstarter. Because Kickstarter wants you to have a fucking credit card and doesn't like PayPal. Which sucks! Yeah, here we go. He's 24, and he works in a prominent position. Holy shit, Remy. Adine is 26. Okay, that kind of makes it alright. Oh, yeah. She's 23. I thought she was 21. I guess it's to kind of cover the legal age, but still. Like, they're in a really narrow band. And it's kind of stupid that Adine is, like, in a less economically viable position and somehow Remy has the better job. Also, something to consider. Remy was in a significant political position, judging things while he was less than 24 years old. Holy crap! Isn't Anna supposed to be the prodigy of the few? I can't stop saying that. Next time, Adine and her feet. The little feeties. Little peats. I love the term peats. You should look up otters. They're cute. Oh, so cute. Interesting how... Like, I do think that it kind of makes sense, but this is like the only main accoutrements these characters have, so naturally they dump them at the end. Kind of interesting that her pen shows up a lot, but she doesn't do much with it. Something to consider that I haven't pointed out as much. Look at this. We got this number, and yet for some reason the extra routes never added. Ain't that weird. Unlockable pinups, which tied in directly into the ending. On both major and minor routes. Oh, okay, okay. So that was like, okay, even those guys got more custom assets, CGs. That having been said, for something that had these, is like, this bothers me, though. Like, clearly they met this goal, and they didn't do it. Like... Oh, wow. Oh, man. This was my, was 250. The hell knows why I paid 250. I would have been in there, but as I said before, I could make a better story than Lorm, or at least a more interesting encounter, but I wouldn't have done it at the time, because I was a little shit. Man, sponsor, though, like, I can't believe someone put down that money. That's 25% of their goal, or no, less. That's like half their goal in, like, one item. Which is, again, I guess the point was that, oh, this is interesting. 3 out of 4 claim to it. Yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting. A lot of this gets me confused. Maybe it would have been different. Like, it's something funny to consider, because, again, this game is about that. Would have been different if I had actually gone with it. Like, I would have gone the secondary rule, or would have gone the big boy pack, and would have had my storyline. Would I have pulled my shit together? Would I have actually bothered to look into this? I like to think not, but at the same time, there's always the option. Like, at the time, let's not think too much about things. I have done little translating and a lot of talking, which tends to happen from time to time. But some people might like that. Some people are like, oh man, this is fun to listen to as like a podcast. And I'm like, okay. I guess in that case, translating is like the secondary objective. Maybe I'm so convinced that MB Saunders is listening, because there has to be a reason he hasn't added those other Dutch people to the project yet. There has to be a reason. Like, 2 people showed up, and I'm still the only person working on this. Not that I mind, like, I actually like this. I've already said that if they showed up, I'd still do everything because I want to, because I find that interesting and fun, and because, you know, I want to make the videos because it's talking time. But I need to know if he's still watching. This is a mystery that I just can't hold myself. It's a mystery that's going to haunt me forever. This is also one of the bigger video files because of all the pictures I showed. Radical Phi. This thing that gets me. Does this thing have like a green like pen? I think it did. I think I was very vocal about it. Man, I do not want to see those tweets. They make me sad. They remind me of a little shit I was. I was like, it's gonna be funny. It still pains me because even though now I'm like, this product isn't as good as I thought it was, I'm still like, I wouldn't want to make like a ha 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 fuck you thing. Interestingly enough, I had the same response to this game as I had Undertale, which is way too emotional, way too involved, and Jesus Christ, get back to reality, you dolt. That's enough shouting and saying meany words. I'm probably going to get in trouble because of this. But at the same time, let's at least turn off the sound. There we go. I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to eat your beans, boys. And if you're a girl, I don't care. You're still a boy. The term boy is gender neutral to me. I call everything boys. It doesn't matter what you are. It doesn't matter if you're non-binary. It doesn't matter if you're not even existent in this plane of dimension. You are still a boy. The greatest of boys. A fantastic boy. And I think that it's not the boy that matters, but the qualifier, the adjective, that defines you. That is what you should care about. If you're a bad boy, don't say, I'm not a boy. Say, I'm not bad. Say what you are instead of what people call you. I don't know. That's a stupid defense of a stupid concept. But I think that just sums up everything here, doesn't it?